Hi, this is Brandon Ketron on behalf of EstateView Planning Software, and I want to walk through how to use the private annuity calculator on the EstateView software. So I'm on the home screen here. Under calculators, you will see private annuity. So if you're looking to illustrate a private annuity, you click on private annuity there, and it starts in standard mode. So if you're just a standard mode subscriber, this will give you the ability to get the numbers that you need to determine the amount of the annuity that would be necessary to basically zero out a gift, give you the assets that are needed in the trust to satisfy the probability of exhaustion test. And it will just give you kind of those basic hard numbers, but not any spreadsheet features. Those come with the Pro and Pro Plus planning scenarios. So just to start basically, what is a private annuity? A private annuity is a transaction where I would basically sell assets to a trust outside of my estate in exchange for a private annuity, where the trust agrees me to pay X dollars a year for the rest of my life. So if I die early, we've had a nice estate tax savings because I'm only going to get a couple of years of annuity payments. If I die, close to my life expectancy, it will probably be pretty equal or close in value to what we've contributed to the trust. But if the trust growth rate of the assets under the trust exceeds the 75/20 rate, then we've effectively shifted wealth outside of our estate. So just looking at the standard mode, we have our 75/20 rate, which is the rate as of today. It will automatically populate. If you're looking at doing planning prospectively, you can look up the 75/20 rate on the EstateView software. You go back to home, and you find the 75/20 rate or AFR table, and you will see all those rates listed there. So if we're going to do this transaction in June, because I'm currently recording this on May 24th, so we're close to June, we might want to use the June rate because the likelihood that we would get this transaction completed by the end of the month is low. So you can show the next 75/20 rate if you like. I'm just going to assume that we can get it done in May, so we can use 5.4%. The number of lives that the annuity will be a single life annuity, or will it apply for the survivor of myself and my spouse? So you can do one life or two lives. We'll just do one for simplicity, but if you were to do two, you can see that you'll add in the second birth date there. So we have a grantor age 60, and I think it's important to note here that when you're entering the age, it's not necessarily the age of the grantor, it's the age that they will be on their nearest birthday. So if they are more than 6 months past their birthday, this might go up to 61. For example, me right now, if we assume that I'm 60, my birth date is June 4th. So I'd be turning 61 on June 4th, which is in 10 days. So my age, if I was using this, my nearest birthday age would be 61. So I would put 61 here instead of 60. But let's assume that their nearest birth date makes them age 60, so we have a nice round number. And that's what we're going to use for our calculations. Do we want to defer this annuity at all? Is it going to start immediately, or will it start in 5 years? We can insert that deferral calculation into the EstateView software as well. We'll assume that it won't be deferred for purposes of this illustration. What are the payment terms going to be? Will they be level, meaning same annuity every year for the rest of my life, or will it be graduated, meaning it can start at one amount and then increase each year as I get older? The most you can do there is around 20% per regulations. So you can see the sliding scale here maxes out at 20. You can click up and down. You can slide the scale, whatever you want to do there. We're going to go with a level annuity for simplicity. And then our trust value, what are we transferring to the trust? What is it valued at? We're going to say $10 million for this illustration. So we click to see our results. It gives us our inputs on the blue here, and then our factors and our annuity amount as the results in green, and a little bit of explanations about what each factor is, what some warnings are to look out for. The big thing is this probability of exhaustion test, and some other warnings that you can read through there as those 4 bullet points. So the annuity factor is 12.19% if we round up to the nearest hundredth. which means we divide our 10 million by that annuity factor to get our annual annuity. So in this scenario, I would transfer $10 million to a trust. That trust would then pay me back $820,607 every year for the rest of my life. So if I die in year one, I've got 820 back and transferred 10 million outside of my estate. Pretty good estate plan, right? If I die, 20 years from now, say I live to age 80, then, this annuity coming back to me might actually be well in excess of what I transferred. So the annuity is interesting in that there's some planning to do there, and it's a play on how long you're going to live. Now, in some cases, clients may want a larger annuity coming back versus an interest-only note and on an installment sale. That interest-only payment is going to be much less than the annuity payment that would come back to them. So if they need additional assets to live, you could compare an installment sale on the calculator by going to the installment sale calculators to what we get from our private annuity and talk to the client about those decision factors. So you can pair across different planning modules as well. So now let's go into pro mode. We're going to keep the same inputs here. A couple of additional inputs that I'll kind of walk through here. It automatically carried over my inputs that I had previously. But the additional factors that I can show is now I'm building a spreadsheet that I'm going to be able to show to the client. So how many years do I want to illustrate? When am I going to die? So let's say I'm going to die at age 90. I want to illustrate 30 years, which is the number of years until my death. Again, we can set the deferral period if we want, level or graduated, what the estate tax will be, what rate are assets growing at. Let's use 8%. We're going to pay 1.5% of value as investment taxes. So basically capital gains, interest, dividends will be about 1.5% of the assets each year. Are we going to toggle off grantor trust status or not? We can do that by clicking up and down, say immediately, a couple of years down the road, or never. 9 times out of 10, it will be never. So we'll assume that for now. And are we going to make a gift to this trust? That might be necessary to satisfy the exhaustion test rather than just the straight transfer of assets. So we're going to make a $1.5 million gift, sell $10 million of assets in exchange for this private annuity. And what is that result going to look like? I'm going to go ahead and show you Pro Plus now because I want to talk about some of the additional features in Pro Plus mode that allows us to take into account basically discounts. So here we have the year one gift at 1.5. If that's going to be discounted, maybe it's you have an entity and you're transferring 5% of the entity as a gift and selling the remainder percentage for the private annuity. So that might have a 25-30% discount that would apply on that. Let's assume no discount for the gift, that we're just going to contribute cash or marketable securities as our gift. Then we're going to sell $10 million of assets that are held in an LLC. That's unmarketable, that is non-controlled. It's a non-controlling interest, so we can have about a 30% discount that would apply. So we got $10 million of assets discounted down to $7 million of assets. If you have a blend of stuff that you're selling, some things might be discounted, others might not be able to be discounted. You can bifurcate that into discountable assets and non-discountable assets here under these inputs. So we're just going to assume that everything is discountable at 30%. So we won't input anything on the non-discounted side. So we have our combined value after discounts at 7 million. Is this going to be a situation here for the annual additional income where it might be an active business that we're transferring that's earning income each year? So let's say that we have an S corporation that earns $2 million a year. We're transferring all of that out of their estate at a $10 million value, 5 times earnings, pretty good rule of thumb. So that additional income, we can click it up to 2 million, or we can simply type in our 2 million amount. What's the income tax on that? Will it increase over time? So we're going to assume a 30% income tax rate. Again, you can use the sliding scale if you want to adjust the rate. You can use the arrows to click up and down to adjust the rate. And is that income going to increase? Is it going to be $2 million for the rest of their life, or is it going to grow with inflation? So we can adjust that up and down. Let's just say it stays flat for purposes of this scenario. So then we can see our results. And it gives us a nice spreadsheet here that shows our age. If we had a second life annuity, if we had 2 grantors, we can show the second life age here, the probability of death, so the probability that we would pass away during this time, and that's each year. Let me go to here and change this around to probability of survival, so we can see the likelihood that we're going to die in a given year. So at age 85, we have a 50% chance of living or a 50% chance of dying. So that would be about our life expectancy there at age 85. And we have a beginning value, the $10 million of assets transferred, plus the 1.5 of seed capital gift. And how is that going to grow over time? We have our growth here, which is the rate of growth that we've set at 8%. So those monies are growing at 8%. We have our taxes on that growth. We have the additional income that's coming in, that $2 million a year that we've inputted in as our additional income, our taxes on that additional income, the annuity that's paid back to the grantor from the trust every year until he dies at age 90, the end value of the trust. So you can see here we're able to pass significant wealth outside. It's growing pretty quickly with that additional income coming in. And the estate tax savings that are involved here, the burn or the income taxes that the grantor is going to pay on behalf of this trust as a grantor trust. We have that column here. The estate tax savings associated with the grantor paying these income taxes, and then our total estate tax savings. So let's go just to play around. If we wanted to say, okay, let's duplicate this. Let's say that we want to defer the annuity now. We want to defer it for 10 years. I'm not going to get any money back from this trust for a 10-year period. So you can see our annuity amount automatically adjusts to zero out the gift, basically. We went from a $574,000 annuity right off the bat to where if we adjusted this to be deferred for 10 years, after 10 years, I would get $1.4 million a year as my annuity payment. And the spreadsheet automatically adjusted to show that as well. What's the remainder value? What is the exhaustion test requirement to make sure we have sufficient assets in the trust to last for a long period of time? And you can compare this to the remainder value to make sure that that's going to be satisfied. Here it's very easily satisfied because of this additional income coming in. So yeah, that shows the estate tax savings associated with this technique and how the trust grows in value over time to pass outside of our estate. So let's say here that we don't have this additional income. We just have a $10 million asset that would grow at 10%. I'm going to change our assumptions in annuity 1 so we can compare apples to apples as well. No income coming in, level payment terms on both sides of the transaction. And now you can see how the deferral might actually save some estate taxes compared to a flat annuity starting immediately. 31 million compared to 34 million. What else could we show? What other features might we show here? Well, what if annuity 2 was a shark fin annuity? So we have the ability to say that the annuity would start at a very low number and then climb to a high amount, 20% increasing every year. That will be on the far left-hand side. Again, we're changing our payment terms to graduated. We're going to increase that annuity by 20%. It will not be deferred, it'll start immediately. But our year 1 annuity would then only be $26,000, and it would increase by 20% every year. So year over year, you can see that annuity going higher and higher in value, increasing by 20%. And how does that, what estate tax savings does that provide us? Well, you can see the difference here in the green, 31 million compared to 42. So you can show all these different features on EstateView, easily compare apples to apples over the different types of annuities that you can offer, different features that you can show. And then how are we going to then export this and show to clients? A number of different ways that you can do that. One way is we can take this spreadsheet and just export it to Excel. So it'll come up here with an Excel spreadsheet that you can manipulate, change the column headings, put in your information from your firm, letterhead, etc. if you want to include that on the spreadsheet. Of course, we want to correct this to make it an actual number. So you can easily do that with Excel to make it a dollar amount. When you first convert to number, convert that to dollars. So now it looks a little bit cleaner. So that is one way to show to a client. Another way is we have explanation letters. So we'll just show private annuity 1. We'll have a general explanation, a checklist, and a PowerPoint presentation. You can put in your information here. So it will have basically your information on the PowerPoint when you're sending this to client. We'll submit. It will download our files for us. So we have our general explanation, a little bit of background on what the private annuity is, how it works, things you should watch out for, all will be included in this summary letter. We have a checklist for the planner. So on your side, what do we need to do to make sure that this annuity is effective and we're doing it the right way? And so there's your checklist. And then we have our PowerPoint that you can share with the client that will show the kind of diagram of the transaction, how it works, some advantages, some considerations, some information about the exhaustion test, the cash flows year over year, our considerations again, some case laws, some just information that you can share with the client, along with your assumptions, the details year over year, and some charts as well. We can also share this directly with the client by going to the Share with Client button at the top. You can create a passcode, whatever numbers you want to use for that. You can do that there. Generate a URL, copy that. Copy that to your clipboard by either highlighting it, right-clicking and copy, and then you can paste that into an email, or you can simply click Copy to Clipboard, and then it will be in your clipboard, so you can paste that into an email to send to the client. And when they have this link, they can actually see the exact same thing that you're seeing here on the screen, and then they can go in and say, well, what if the assets grow at only 6%? What if the assets grow at 10%? What if I wanted to do a graduated annuity? What if it was deferred for 10 years? So it allows them to kind of play with the numbers, be involved with the design of the plan and the structure, and if they're sophisticated and understand how to use the software, something that they might enjoy. You can also take screenshots of the assumptions and outputs here by clicking the camera button. It will pull up a screenshot. So I'll open that to show you what it looks like. You can take a screenshot of the spreadsheet as well, if you like, rather than exporting it to Excel. If you like how it looks here, simply take your screenshot and you can send that to the client in an email if you like, to show the year-by-year financial results of this plan. We also have the ability to alter these columns. So if you want to remove anything or add anything, you can do that here by clicking on and off of the different options that you have. You can do the same thing at the top as well. Click on and off these different options if you don't want to show one thing or the other. And then finally, we have these different timelines that just show the beginning value. This is the trust in orange, the annual annuity down here at the bottom in red, and then the growth of the assets here in green. These would all adjust if we changed anything in our assumptions. So you can kind of see how it works year over year if we change different things in the timeline or in our inputs. Their likelihood of surviving to a certain age, kind of a nice chart to show to clients. You know, if you're age 80, you got just over a 60% chance to live. If you're looking at age 80, 90, you have a very low chance of living past age 90. And then our trust value over time. Again, this will compare if you have different annuity options. So we had two kind of options that we went through in our scenario. We got private annuity 1 here, private annuity 2, private annuity 1 is in blue, private annuity 2 is in green. So you can compare them on this chart if you like. If we added a third annuity, that would also show up here. Maybe the third annuity is a graduated 20-year, 20% annuity with the assets growing at 9% and would be deferred for 4 years. So it will, show those calculations for you on the timeline. So that's the private annuity. Hopefully that kind of tells you how to use the software, gives you a little bit of background about the private annuity, some different things to consider and what you can use the software to show. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at EstateView. Glad to help in any way and walk you through the different features that EstateView offers. Thank you.